So here we are again with another one of these character sculpting videos. This one is going to be a louse, which is the singular of lice. So it's like a little bug character. It's not going to be gross though. I did have some references of like gross bugs and stuff, but I tried to edit all of them out so you shouldn't see any of them on the screen, so don't worry about that. But as you can see here, I'm just starting with cubes. Using the subdivision surface modifier to kind of just low poly model everything out right here for the different body parts. Except for right here, I'm using the skin modifier for the arms and legs. I find this is just like a little quicker and easier when you're doing kind of like tube shaped things. So I'm able to like make the arms and legs pretty quickly. You can see right here I'm experimenting quite a bit with the skin modifier to make some little fingers, but because it's a bug character, it's kind of more like little pinchers or claws, kind of crustacean-like. You can make some good shapes, using this method, but you have to mess around with it to make sure there aren't any glitches like this. I just ate some good cookies, so I'm happy right now. I was trying to make kind of like a bug character that was cute and not too gross, which I think is not something that I see a whole lot. So here I'm jumping into sculpt mode, and that's how I'm making these little like mandibles or like teeth. Just use a snake hook with dynamic topology. Just pull it out right there. Try to sharpen up the edges a little bit. This one has a lot of like big simple shapes, so I probably could have, instead of sculpting those on, kind of done the same thing that I did with the skin modifier. But I think this works also. And then I'm just sculpting some creases in. This one was a pretty fun one to make because it's like a lot of big, simple shapes and kind of a cutesy character, just in terms of like the modeling and the proportions and all that. If you're gonna get into character modeling, I recommend kind of going that route first. Just big shapes, simple character shapes. Just because it's a little easier starting out than making things that are super detailed or realistic. So then here I'm just doing nothing. Most of the sculpting that I'm doing right here are pretty much just over the course of this entire video. I'm just kind of making lines to make the body and the body parts look more segmented and sharp, kind of like scales like a crab would have, or something like that. So you can see I'm just kind of like drawing on grooves, little indentations, and then going to the edges and using the crease tool to sharpen those up. This is probably the most complex shaped part of the body, which is kind of funny because it's the one in the render that you don't really see too much. So I totally could have spent less time on this part, but I wanted it to look good from all angles still. I don't necessarily plan on using this for any character animation or anything, so it doesn't really matter too much how it looks from behind. If I was going to use this for any character animation, it would make sense to do it more in like a T-pose shape instead of having the arms bundled up like that. So I'm definitely getting a little finicky with the tail right here. Just going through and doing multiple passes, trying to make it more clean, just cleaner and cleaner. At a certain point, you stop making, significant progress, so I kind of backed off of that. Here I'm going on to the arms, working on segmenting those. I like how the arms and legs came out. The way they are segmented like that kind of makes them look like they'd make a good figurine, like action figure or something like that. It seems like a lot of the character sculpts that I've done are done in a style that makes them kind of look like they'd be little figurines. I didn't mean to do that, but I like that that's how it ended up. So there you can see I just kind of masked out the other limbs so that I could just focus on this one. And it is mirrored, so once I unhide all of those other things that I masked out, all of the edits I'm doing to this are mirrored to the other side too, so I don't have to worry about it being asymmetrical. There you can see I just dropped in some spheres for the eyes. I don't really sculpt those at all, they just stay spheres, kind of bead-like. Here I'm adding a particle system for the hair. You can see I'm going in with some vertex groups to, tell where the particles should be. Hopping into the shader editor, I was thinking of making the body kind of translucent, like rough glass or something like that. But I think at the end I kind of settled for using subsurface scattering instead. It just ended up looking better. But I know a lot of small bugs, if you look really close, they look kind of transparent. Not transparent, but translucent. So at some point I do change the color of the hair to be black, and I think that looks alright, but with the dark background it means you can't really see them as well. And so if I was going to do this again, I would either make the hair lighter or the background lighter, just so that it's higher contrast. Because in solid view I think the hair looks really good. So you can see right here I'm using I think dirty vertex colors. Is that right? Either that or ambient occlusion. They tend to look pretty similar, just to get some definition on the creases right there. Adding a little bumpiness, using a noise texture for the roughness to make it look kind of blotchy. I figured since this is a type of animal that is parasitic, I made the background red to be kind of like blood-like. I thought it was fitting for an animal like this, even though it is kind of cute. It's a nice contrast. And there I'm using a noise texture to change up the colors a little bit too, to make it just a little blotchier looking. So at this point I'm pretty much ready to render it out. So you can see the clay shader right here. And here's it with all the textures. So yeah, let me know what you think of this in the comments below, or if you have any recommendations for new sculpts or new tutorials, things like that. I do have one more sculpt coming up before I have to start making new sculptures, because all of these were from October last year. I also have free wallpapers over on Gumroad, as well as some other paid products. I am working on an update to my glitchy mess effect. It's kind of like a viewport compositor. It'll upgrade the existing shader that I have on Gumroad, but I'm also adding at least one more separate shader to kind of make it a bundle. If you've already purchased it, you'll get that update for free. And the price will probably go up, so if you buy it before the update, it'll be a little cheaper. Or you can always just make it yourself by following the video that I made on it. Alright, that's enough advertising. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.